How do you organize your time? This question seems easy, but in reality, it's not, because you're not a robot. That kind of organization where people tell you, take a piece of paper and write, tomorrow at 6 I'll do this, and at 10 I'll do that. No, our brain is one of the most complex organs in the body, and it's extremely difficult to control. Anyway, let's talk a little about time management. Let's start first with the mindset. Before we get into how to organize your time, there's something important you must always keep in mind. You own all of your time. In the past, I always used to say, I don't have time. I don't have time to study. I don't have time for sports, and so on. And maybe you even believe that. But there's a quote that says, at any given moment, you are doing what you most want to be doing. In short, it means you are in control of your time. For example, right now I'm writing this video because I want to. I went to work out because I chose to. I sat down to study because I decided to. So in short, we need to remove the phrase, I don't have time from our vocabulary, because if you don't have time for something, it simply means it's not a priority. And that doesn't mean you're wrong or a failure. Not at all. What matters is that you become aware of how you speak to yourself, because the way you speak to yourself is what shapes your life. Now let's move to how to actually organize your time. But before that, I want to mention a famous principle called Parkinson's Law, which says, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. In other words, a task will take as long as the time you give it. Let's take a simple example to help you understand. Let's say you decided to tidy your room in just 15 minutes. What would happen? You would immediately jump out of bed, gather the blankets, pick up the clothes from the floor, and clean the space quickly. And yes, you would actually finish everything in just 15 minutes. But if you gave yourself 30 minutes to tidy that same room, you would finish after exactly 30 minutes. This also applies to studying and working. The time you allow yourself is what controls your performance. That's why we use the time boxing technique to prevent a task from taking more time than it actually needs. So how do you apply time boxing? Let me give you an example using Sunday, a day that's usually free. Let's say you're a student and you have several subjects to review. When you wake up in the morning, I want you to take a sheet of paper and write down all the tasks you need to do, with a time frame for each one. For example, I want to watch a math lesson to understand it. 2 hours, then 2 hours to solve math exercises, then 3 hours for physics, then 1 hour for lunch, then 2 hours for rest. Once you've written down all your tasks, don't follow a strict timeline like, at 10 a.m., I'll do the math lesson, and at 2 p.m., I'll move to physics. No, that's the wrong mindset. Because if you put everything in a rigid schedule, you won't complete things 100% simply because you are not a machine. That's why we apply a very important rule: creative versus logical work. Try to divide your day based on the type of task. For example, tasks that require creativity or memorization, like studying something new or learning inventions, are best done in the morning when your mind is fresh. But tasks that need analysis or deep thinking, like solving exercises, discussing ideas, or writing reports, it's better to do them in the evening. So don't try to combine everything at once. For instance, do the task of understanding the lesson in the morning, since this uses your creative energy. Don't mix that with hard exercises. First, understand the lesson, then take a short break, and after that, start solving problems. Before I finish, here are some tips to help you stay consistent. Try to take 1 day off per week if you can, to recharge your energy and come back more motivated. Don't fill your day with too many tasks because you might exhaust yourself and end up getting nothing done. And instead of feeling motivated, you'll feel frustrated. Finally, if some days you feel like you're not progressing despite your effort, don't give up. Results don't always show up quickly, but as long as you're consistent, you're on the right path. That's everything. Goodbye.